Sorry about that, hit the controller there, but you know, I want. I know it's been almost about a week, but I gotta give my thoughts on Great Balls of Fire. And I'm not talking the song, I'm talking the newest name for the July Raw pay-per-view. That's right, if anybody doesn't know, Raw will be getting this. It's called Great Balls of Fire. And all I can say is, WWE, what are you thinking? Because I do voice, and I do agree with just about everybody here. I mean, you've had some crazy names for pay-per-views before. Some have been tolerable, some have been downright stupid, some have been great, but this is not your best. This is not your best. Now, unless this is now, here's the thing. Here's the only reasoning WWE could have came up with this, and WWE, this better be a reasoning. Unless one of the featured matches is an Inferno match or a Ring of Fire match. That's the only reason I can think of this being Great Balls of Fire, is that you have one or two Ring of Fire matches, basically Inferno matches. That would be the only way. Why do I say that? Think about it. What's the reasoning for calling it Great Balls of Fire? What, because it's summer? Oh yeah, that's a good reasoning. That's a good reasoning. Not. You gotta have a stipulation for a name like this. You do. I mean, let's take a look at Payback and Backlash. The reason they got those names and they take place after WrestleMania is because of the fact that it's Payback. As far as Payback goes, it's called Payback for those that lost at Mania. Backlash is basically the backlash after Mania. Like, what's going to happen next? What new feuds and stuff are we going to get? They have somewhat of a meaning to them. You know, Extreme Rules. You know, yeah, it's the name of the gimmick match. Yeah, it's a gimmick match name, a Hardcore Rules fancy name, and formerly known as One Night Stand. But Extreme Rules, okay, that's tolerable because a majority of the matches have some kind of extreme stipulation to it. Money in the Bank, okay, maybe that shouldn't be a pay-per-view itself, but it's basically gone on to but Money in the Bank, when you think about it, has gone on to replace King of the Ring as a sort of the fifth biggest pay-per-view of the year. So Money in the Bank, even though it's a SmackDown exclusive, has become the fifth biggest pay-per-view of the year for WWE, because the match, or matches, depending on how many they have, mean something for the winners. They have, you know, an aftermath that takes place as a result of it. You know? But Great Balls of Fire? Again, the only reason I can think WWE would even come up with this kind of a name is one or two of the matches have to have the stipulation of Inferno, Ring of Fire. That's the only reason. If that's the reason, fine. But don't just do one Ring of Fire match and say, oh, it's going to take place in the middle of the card, that's it. No, your Ring of Fire match better be a freaking closeout thing, because that's what you're centering the freaking pay-per-view around, so that better be the headline match. Okay? That better be the headline match. And if you have more than one, then you better have one right in the middle of the damn pay-per-view as well. That's the only reasoning WWE would come up with this. Because if it's just a fancy name because it's summer, it doesn't make sense. I'd rather, for July, it being a July pay-per-view, and July being a patriotic month, even though the 4th of July is the start of the month, why doesn't WWE give Raw the Great American Bash? Just saying. You know, why don't you do that? Why don't you go Beach Blast for Raw? Or Bash at the Beach? Or Hog Wild or Road Wild? One of those WCW pay-per-view names would be a lot better than Great Balls of Fire. I mean, again, like I said, unless the object in reasoning, unless the objective of this matchup is you're going to have one or two stipulated matches that involve fire. In other words, Ring of Fire, aka Inferno matches. Then okay, I can abide by that, because at least I will say this: even though Fatal 4-Way was a dumb name for a pay-per-view, they did have a reasoning for it. They had not one, not two, but I think 3 Fatal 4-Way matches, or maybe I'm wrong. But at least they had a theme to go along with the name of the pay-per-view. This better have a theme, or this better have matches that go along with the theme. And the only thing I can think of is they're going to either do Ring of Fire, aka Inferno matches, or they're not. Because if they don't do it, it's stupid. It's pathetic. But if they do it, it works. There's a reasoning. So hopefully that's the reason for this name of the pay-per-view. All right, that better be the reasoning. Okay, because if it's not the reasoning, and you're just calling it Great Balls of Fire for the heck of it, then that doesn't make sense. Unless you plan to get Jerry Lee Lewis over there to perform Great Balls of Fire. I heard during a moment at the beginning or in the middle of the show. Because if not, again, we get somebody to perform a rendition of Great Balls of Fire. Because if not, the only other reason, like I said, is they have to have a reasoning. It's like I said, the only other reasoning they could have for this is that they will have possibly not one but 2 Ring of Fire, aka Inferno matches, to go along with the theme of it. Because then you're thinking, okay, those are fire matches. Those are matches related. Those are Ring of Fire, which is basically, Inferno matches up with the theme of Great Balls of Fire. It makes sense. Because if not, what's the reasoning? What's the point? You know what I'm saying? What's the point of it? I mean, Heat Wave is a better name, and that's an ECW name. And guess what? That was done in July. When ECW did it, that would be a better pay-per-view name. Heat Wave. Bring that back for nostalgia. But nope, they don't want to do that. They want to do Great Balls of Fire. Okay. Okay. Again, you better have a reasoning for it. If your reasoning is to have not one but 2 Inferno matches, aka Ring of Fire matches, then fine. I totally get the name. Totally get the name of the pay-per-view. The theme of it. Because you have 2 matches, 2 gimmick matches that are associated with it. If not, and it's just there for the heck of it, and maybe it's your answer to your version of the Great American Bash, not a good reasoning. So, my thoughts of the WWE Great Balls of Fire name, I don't like it any more than anybody else does, but I'm willing to give it a pass if the reasoning behind it is you're going to have not one but 2 Ring of Fire matches, aka Inferno matches, to tie into it. That's the only reason I think they came up with the name. So that's just my thoughts on the pay-per-view name by WWE. Let me know what you think. Do you agree with that possibility as to why the naming of Great Balls of Fire? Due to the fact that they might have Ring of Fire, aka Inferno matches as the gimmick to go along with the theme? Or do you think it's just there because they want their own version of Great American Bash? Let me know down below. And what other names that I mentioned do you think would be better for a July pay-per-view as far as Monday Night Raw goes? Let me know down below. Comment if you like. I'm out.